938 Live. 938 Live gets you talking with the Breakfast Club.
Now, Asia is the leader in the world when it comes to smartphone usage and engagement, and Singapore is at the top of the pack. According to a recent global study by Google, Singapore is now number one in terms of being the smartphone adopter in the world at 85%. We're outdoing Korea at 80%. The research by market research company TNS is based on 150,000 interviews and covered device usage and online access, how people shop and what they watch, and the role of digital in the path to purchase. So if you run a business, plenty of reasons for you to think mobile first in reaching your customers. Wang joins us today. He's president of the Marketing Institute of Singapore, and he's here to talk about some of the emerging trends in this arena. So Roger, you mentioned earlier to me that it has to be more than informative, it has to be entertaining. Tell us more.
Yes, hi, good morning. Now, for digital marketing itself, it has to take out a more entertainment role because we are engaging the consumers at a very personal level itself. So information is not what they are seeking for, but rather the very first step is to entertain, to get them excited on what will be discussed. And the messages will have to be crafted in such a way that they are able to relate to on a personal level. So this is something that perhaps as a digital marketer, the very first step to look at is the behavior of their consumers that they are targeting at a very personal level itself.
So in effect, you don't even need to keep mentioning your product's name or your service's name, right? As long as you have a memorable campaign and you tell them what it's about at some point, I mean, you still have to remind them of what it's about, you're likely to stay top of mind.
That's right. Well, as in all digital marketing medium, the idea is to actually get them engaged. Rather than being a one-track, one-sided information path, it has to be engaging on two levels. First and foremost, on a personal level itself, you must allow them a platform for them to express, and thereafter which you try to actually maneuver your plans or your strategies to cater to their expressions.
Could you give me an example of a successful campaign in this regard?
One of the campaign that I can think of, that was I wonder if you still remember the Massage Uncle viral video, the YouTube. It went very viral itself.
Can you explain it to listeners who perhaps are not aware of it?
Okay, sure. Now that is actually a recruitment campaign. It started off the massage uncle being in a workplace, and he's known to be a very famous massager, masseur. And the female colleagues around him happens to know about it, and one by one they sought after him for personal massage. Even
though the place he was working at was not a massage parlor.
That's right.
It's just that his colleagues knew he could give good ones.
So that actually went viral, and the message of that, it's more on humorous. Right, and then towards the end, that's where the sponsors or the advertisers actually come up with their logos and promote their services. So this is actually.
So what was the product? What was the services? Who were the sponsors?
Services was a recruitment center itself for recruitment of staff. All right. So what
was the message that they were trying to project? So with that massage uncle story,
basically it's using humor to capture attention. All right, and then towards the end, bring across the message that they want.
Yeah, but it has to have a connection as well, right? So, what was the connection between recruiting people and the massage uncle?
Okay, it is like even at a level of a office assistant, which he was placed in. So it can happen at all level in terms of job placement.
So he had other skills.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll get you the best people.
Yes.
In a sense, that was the message. Okay, finally we got to the message. If you watch the ad, you'll get it immediately. Trust me. So just Google it, massage uncle video. I'm sure you'll find it. Yes. Now, in that Google study I mentioned earlier, 88% 50% of Singaporeans said that they experienced problems when accessing websites on their phones. And considering we're talking about digital marketing, it's so important, isn't it, for businesses who have a presence online to design it in a palatable fashion as well. What are some of the most common mistakes businesses make in this regard?
I think when designing website for phones, they have to optimize the content that it fits into a mobile device, because quite frankly, phones and laptops operate on a very different level.
One would think that this is basic information that all marketers and businesses would know. So why are such mistakes still happening?
Because marketers traditionally, we are not that IT savvy. Okay, so contrary to popular belief that marketers knows everything, they need to rely on digital marketers. These are very specialized expert group of people that actually looks into all areas of problems that will arises, and such things like IT, in terms of the skills, in terms of mapping up on different platforms, different problems that will arises from devices. These are things that they are trained in. So therefore, digital marketers is no longer just a name conferred to a job, but rather a professional. Right?
So shouldn't marketers then work hand in hand with the IT professionals?
In actual fact, they should.
They should.
But as a digital marketer itself, you would have some background in terms of the design of the IT or the social media platform.
We will talk in a moment about some of the courses you can take in order to become better at this, at digital marketing. But let's continue on this track of some of the other mistakes that we've seen companies make in this regard and how they can correct them as well. Aside from the fact that perhaps the design isn't quite right for the mobile device, what other issues are there in this area that businesses really need to address right now?
I think for a business, most businesses, they tends to take digital marketing as singular when it should be a integrated marketing effort itself. So try to weave in the digital marketing plan within the overall marketing campaign. So this is where they need to integrate some of the traditional media together with the digital marketing medium itself. So I would advise to take on digital marketing planning at a very early stage, together with your marketing campaign, and plan it thoroughly, with digital marketing taking the forefront, because this will be the very first step which a company will be able to address to their consumers.
But it depends on who your consumers are also, right? Because not every business's consumers are going to be online. Or would you say at this stage we're seeing that change?
In fact, we are seeing more and more companies taking up social media platform as a means of outreach to their customers.
But really, does every company need a social media platform?
I would think
this
that
stage?
At this age, most customers would have at least a Facebook, if not some other social media platform. And we are seeing an integration between the social media platform itself. So a easier way to outreach to these consumers would be on a platform that they already have or they already possess. So social media marketing, in my opinion, would be the very first step towards engaging your prospects or your intended customers.
Let's talk about some of the other emerging trends in this space so that you can do all of that engagement in a more effective manner.
First and foremost, I think communications, it has to be more genuine, as to have depth and meaningful content in order to keep your customers or your intended consumers interested and engaged in social media. And on top of that, mobile marketing is seeing a growth because of the rise in terms of the numbers of mobile phones, smartphone and tablets user itself. So this allows a marketer to plan out their campaign using various tools such as apps and such as Instagram campaign to outreach to their consumers. So therefore, these are some of the trends which companies should look into in depth, should place emphasis in looking into their outreach program involving some of the digital media.
It's not just about Facebook alone, it's not just about Twitter, it's much more than that. Obviously the apps, the Instagram, so on and so forth. But going into this, the basic principles of marketing would still apply, right? You still need to know your target audience. You need to know their behavior before you can market to them. And those are the same principles that you apply to traditional marketing.
Certainly, I think this falls in the very first part of research. So once you have your research, you identify the segment itself. Digital marketing can be one of the medium in terms of outreach to them. So with it together with your traditional media, you will probably achieve a better success rate in our age today.
If we talk about outreach, what are some of the successful approaches to outreach? Because outreach essentially means reaching my customer. But give me an example, perhaps, based on a particular product or service, a particular market, and what an effective integrated outreach strategy would look like.
I think,
using several platforms.
Okay. One of the examples that I can name of is a very recent event that my own company actually was being engaged to organize an event. So what we did was we weaved in the digital marketing campaign at a very early stage and promote it by getting the community, the digital community, to talk about it. All right. So that's where we can actually monitor the responses, and we catered and altered our campaign based on those responses. And in doing that, we are able to see more involvement from our intended customers.
How did you respond to the responses? Because it seems that they play a very important role. So I'm guessing you first just sent out feelers and told people this event is happening. And did they voluntarily start talking about it on their own, or did you have to kind of nudge them a little bit more?
Yes, you do have to actually nudge them, and then at the same time monitor their responses.
Okay, so how did they respond, and how were you able to use those responses to mold the rest of the campaign?
So it all depends. Certainly there are two sides of the coin: the positive ones and the negative ones. The positive ones we would encourage more, but for negative ones we want to address them almost immediately, and we will try to agree to disagree. Right. At the same time, we can actually use certain elements to sort of mold their comment towards what we want.
So did you then design your campaign based in part on what feedback you received?
Yes, exactly. These are all scenarios planning that we have already put in place when we plan out our marketing campaign.
So if people said this sounds like a really boring campaign or a really boring event, I would rather not go,
Yes.
What would you do then?
We tend to agree with them in the very beginning. Yes, it can be boring, but look on the other side of the coin itself. The event itself, though may be boring, but it has a certain outcome, right? The outcome may be for a good cause in terms of doing a social service. It can be a boring event, but there's certainly something that you can actually derive out of this event that can be good. So we try to weave it towards that angle.
Now, I just want to talk about this in the context of small and medium enterprises who may not at this point be as successful in that mobile marketing journey. What are your recommendations for small businesses looking to break into this field and to reach their customers here? What are some of the most common challenges they tend to face, first of all?
I think for small medium enterprise, try to set your digital marketing campaign as realistic as possible to what you can actually afford. Digital marketing campaign can be very affordable if you know how to do it.
You want how to do it in order to make it affordable.
So it's just as simple as setting up a Facebook page for your business itself. Engage the community to talk about it. And at the same time, engage some of the well-known bloggers to also come in and endorse on your product. So these are some of the very basic digital marketing strategy that you can actually deploy.
You talked earlier about how it's important to know what you are doing in this space, because not just any marketeer can become a digital marketeer. I understand there is an advanced diploma in digital marketing that people can take in order to get trained adequately for this field. Tell us more about that.
Well, for MIS, the Marketing Institute of Singapore, we are the national body when it comes to marketing. So we have been monitoring the whole marketing arena as to what are the trends coming. So we have identified digital marketing at a very early stage as being one of the most important medium right now that we are able to provide to our consumers, to our customers, in terms of outreach program. And digital marketing has evolved into such an important role within the marketing campaign that we crafted an advanced diploma based on the need of our client. So this is something to actually, these courses will be able to equip them with very specialized knowledge and implant measurables and evaluative marketing grids, strategies grids to be able to measure the outcome of the different platform that were being deployed.
There are analytics, right, that actually take care of that in terms of monitoring?
Certainly, there are certain tools that you are able to use. So these are some of the things that you can pick it up when you enroll in our advanced diploma courses with the Marketing Institute of Singapore.
Okay, going forward, what would you say businesses need to take note of in terms of designing their strategy, their marketing strategy?
Well, when designing marketing strategy itself, you are actually looking at the most effective ways on outreach to their consumers. So bearing in mind on today's age where most of us are very mobile, traditional medium alone may not be sufficient. So certainly we need to be on top of the trend. And when all your customers and your consumers are mobile, you need to address them using that vehicle.
People tend to make the assumption that older people are not so savvy when it comes to using technology. But I think it's not true.
It's changing.
At all.
It's changing.
Yeah,
yes.
I know of people in their 50s and 60s and 70s who are more savvy than some of the younger ones I know. Even they are going online to look for information on products and services, aren't they, Roger?
Yeah, they are, certainly. Well, 60s and 70s, that's where we find that they have the time, being semi-retirees and retired, where they are looking for ways and means to improve both their social skills and their living skills itself. That's where they'll look into new skills.
And they also have the means to purchase your products and skills.
Lots of money and savings and whatnot, investments. So don't make assumptions about who your customer is, most of all. I think that market research and all of the traditional principles of marketing still apply. Thank you so much, Roger, for joining us today.
Thanks.
Roger Wang is president of the Marketing Institute of Singapore.
The last